You're listening to Turi Riders' She Said What podcast. I'm Turi, along with Marcy Persky. Maybe you've wondered what it takes to run an Airbnb? Well, here's your mop and a spray bottle of toxic cleaning solution. We'll come back in an hour and see how you did. Don't worry, it'll be fun for you. So, other than the fact that you're boiling up there, what else is? Have you got your power back consistently now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, power's back, which you probably just jinxed. But we're not as overrun with tourists right now because the holiday weekend's over. So hopefully a lot of these people went back to work and left all their Airbnbs empty. Because they're still waiting to get air conditioning. We have to have, it's like one thing after another. We have to have an electrician come and make sure that we can actually hook up the power to the power that we have.
You just made me think of something when you talked about the vacationers in all their Airbnbs sucking up your power.
Yeah.
I was talking with a friend of mine who has an Airbnb in a beautiful part of the mountains of Arizona. And she was explaining some of the stuff that you have to do if you're going to put a place on Airbnb. And it was kind of alarming. Like the stuff that I live with that is intolerable to people who rent Airbnbs. For example, I cannot remember the last time that I cleaned the gasket of my front load washing machine. But apparently, and I guess this makes logical sense, and now I'm afraid to look.
I would just tape it shut.
The whole washing machine?
Here's the directions. No, the door.
Oh.
Here's the directions to the closest laundromat.
Yeah, she's going to be in there with like a little bit of bleachy water washing the gasket of the front load washing machine. And I love my friend, and I'm glad to learn that these things happen in the Airbnbs that I rent, but I'm not sure that I could summon the power to do these things myself, especially since I don't know if you have this feeling, but to clean something that's more or less clean is not satisfying. It's only satisfying to clean something that's really filthy. So
I agree.
In between all the people who rent your Airbnb while you're letting the gasket get filthy, what are they getting? Short shrift, bad deal? Or, I mean, because it's for my satisfaction then that I'm not cleaning the gasket. If I'm the Airbnb host, I have to do it even though I get no satisfaction from it. Whereas now that my friend has reminded me that this is something that people do, now when I go do it, I'm going to get a tremendous amount of satisfaction out of it.
And see, I'm staring right now at a glass vase full of wooden roses that Frankie bought me from some craft person probably 17 years ago. And they're sitting here right in front of my face, and the vase is full of dust. And now, as soon as we get done, I'm going to have to go wash that stupid vase, and it's all your fault.
And right after that, you get to go clean the gasket on your washing machine.
I have a new washing machine, so...
How many years do you figure it'll take before you really need to clean that gasket?
I'll be dead.
Yeah. Well, this is the other thing. Like, I looked up my vintage car, and someone is selling one just like it, and only a different color. And I looked to see because it seemed like they were getting an alarmingly high sum for it, a vast sum of money. And I looked at this and I saw like you could eat breakfast off the engine. You could, you operate, if you needed an emergency operation, you could recline one of the seats and use it. And I just thought, okay, well, that's the reason why my vintage car would be about 5% of the value of their vintage car.
See, you just gave me a thought though.
Uh-oh.
Instead of leaving a will, I'm going to start a list of things that will need to be done in the house after I'm dead. Like clean the washing machine, get the dust out of the wooden roses vase, stuff like that. When we're finishing this cast, I'm going to walk around with a pad of paper and write down a list of everything that will need to be done, such as dumping out the vase. I'm looking at some dust underneath the printer, cleaning the washing machine, of course, and the dryer probably as well. But yes, I will write down a list, and it's that they're going to be there waiting for the reading of a will. And it's going to be, here is your list of everything that must be done. between now and the funeral in 24 hours if I decide to have one. And then you get your inheritance, which is probably nothing at this point.
I think you could make a game out of it if you're really clever.
What would they get?
Make it like one of those reality shows. They would get to keep the box of your ashes in their closet for 30 years, just the way
like
you
I did with my sister.
Right. The winner gets mom's ashes in a box.
Yeah, that would be a family tradition, I think now.
Oh, kind of like passing on some family heirloom. They just pass on the list, the to-do list, the rules for the contest, and then the prize. The prize being what's left of your actual family member.
And by the time anything gets done, my 5-month-old grandson will be probably 45 years old. So there we go.
Can make his own list.
But the screened-in porch is at the top.
Ah, yes, the anti-bug, anti-snake Frankie to-do list.
Right.
The marital to-do list will likely outlive us all.
Exactly.
Don't forget you have to do underneath the deck because things come up from underneath.
Nah, that's where the cat goes to chasers. He would be disappointed if we blocked him off from his playground.
To chase what?
Lizards.
Ah.
Big giant ones.
Well, I'm just warning you now that snakes can come up from underneath.
There has to be a hole for them to get up through and around, however. And there's no holes in the deck.
I still think you should have some sort of net underneath it. Otherwise,
I'll
bring
it up with my personal carpenter.
Yeah, you have a personal carpenter. What other, it's fun for him. This is what I tell myself. This is fun for him.
Yeah.
Whenever I have a list for the spousal unit, I tell myself it's fun for him.
At this point, if Frankie's driving his truck home, he's in a wreck.
That's probably fun for him, too. Winching his truck out of a ravine. It's got to be fun for him.
Yeah, winching it himself.
This is sort of my go-to for anything unpleasant that I'm sending off to somebody else to do. Well, it's probably fun for them.
It's totally fun. I'm going to go hand my daughter, who's sitting in my living room, a toilet brush and say, here, it's going to be fun for you.
That's right. Make it a game. Isn't that what they tell us to do with kids when we want them to do unpleasant things? Make it a game. It seems like all these parental advice blogs and websites online with their advice, they assume that your kids are idiots. That they're like, make a game out of eating this food your kid really, really hates. You're like, what do you think? My kid is stupid? Yeah. Now, I do realize that you hide vegetables in your husband's food. Yeah. But again, it's probably fun for him.
I think of more of consequences than games. I'm talking about parental kind of decisions.
I think of bribes. But the things that here's the thing, it requires a whole different mindset to make a suitable bribe that isn't really ridiculously unattainable. What you have to do is start your kids in a life of such deprivation that when you say,
you can have a cookie,
you're going to get a marshmallow, they go bananas. Like, marshmallow, like something off of one of those horror movies. Marshmallow. Oliver. Yeah, please, Sam, I have some more. What was I just? Oh God, I was reading this.
Mom, may I have
a marshmallow? May I, Mom? May I have a marshmallow? I read in the New York Times today, and we're not a political show, so this won't be a political item at all. But they followed this family that came up from Venezuela and crossed the border legally, I might add. But the father of the kids, in order to prepare the kids for this walk through the insane jungle of the Darien Gap, he tries to make a life of complete deprivation, danger, snakes, and dead things into a fun game for them ahead of time by explaining that it's going to be like an obstacle course, only real. And then the line that got me is, and he fed them small meals so that they would get used to the deprivation. And I thought, this is a nutter. I wouldn't take my kids with this guy anywhere. Like, what?
That's child abuse.
I don't know. We're going to prepare you kids now for walking in the jungle with snakes and dead people. And by the way, you get half a serving of gruel tonight instead of a full. I just thought, I mean, the whole article was what it was, but I read that line and I thought, who has kids with this guy?
Hey, do you think this gets my brain running again?
Yeah.
Do you think that it's possible that I can say elder abuse over the lack of a screen on my front deck to keep giant bugs and snakes out?
Only if he locks you out of the house and makes you sit out there all night.
Nah, he'd never do that.
All right, then. No elder. I can't use that one. Just go to my favorite altogether now. It's fun for him.
Yeah, it's fun. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun for him. Right. And it doesn't have to be a whole screen. He can just put up some mosquito netting that rolls up and rolls down, and that'll be fun for him.
Fun for him.
That's right. That's the new.
Okay.
That's the new go-to. Whatever it is, cleaning. As you pointed out, your youngest to clean the bathroom. It's gonna be fun for her.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try that all day with everything. I'm even gonna try it on the goats and the dogs. Like, go outside and poop now. It will be fun for you.
It is fun for them. Haven't you ever watched a dog poop? They're very excited when they're done. They wag their tail. They dig around. They love it. It's fun for them.
Okay.
And I will say this about a lot of husbands I've known. A nice nesting period in their private bathroom, that does seem to be fun for them.
That's true.
Thanks for listening to the Turi Writers She Said What podcast. Since you've made it to the end, you might want to know that my book, She Said What? A Life on the Air, is not only available in print, but now also in complete audiobook form, narrated by me and available on Audible.